Subcommittee for Thursday, the 9th of December 2021. We're here just to consider the one report application, which is a request for written approval to hold a 5th concert with a capacity of more than 5,000 in a 28-day period, and approval for use of the Great Stone Road entrance for the HGV access relating to the premises licence held for Lancashire County Cricket Club, Elf Road, Old Trafford. So that's the item we're considering. The attendances will all be recorded on Zoom. Just by way of introductions, I'm Councillor Jarman. With me on the panel tonight are Councillors Brotherton and Wetton. We also have officers from the legal, licensing and governance team. And do we have the applicant here? Can we be introduced?
Yes, it's Peter Ash from the Cricket Club.
Oh, hello, Peter. You'll be presenting for the Cricket Club.
I'll answer any questions. I think Claire will just put the document forward. So,
okay, any way you wish. We also have a representation from Environmental Health, which is being presented by Mr. Pollock. So, the proceedings for the meeting, I'll just run through the proceedings for the meeting. First of all, I'll ask the licensing officer to outline the application. Then I'll ask the applicant and or their representative to address the subcommittee and call any witnesses. The applicant and each of their witnesses may then be questioned by members of the subcommittee, officers and any other party making representation. Party making representation will be referred to as the representative and the representative. Will be given an opportunity to address the subcommittee. The representative and any of their witnesses may be questioned by the members of the subcommittee, officers and any other party making representation. There's only one representative tonight, which is Environmental Health representation, by Mr. Richard Pollock. Can I ask if you're not speaking directly in the meeting, if you can turn your microphones off? Thank you. We're just having a bit of feedback. After this request, I'll request all parties involved to summarise. The representative or representatives will be given 2 minutes to summarise, followed by the applicant, who will also be given 2 minutes to summarise. The subcommittee will then consider their decision, and then I will announce the determination of the application and the reasons for the determination. This will be confirmed in writing within 5 days of the hearing. Now, just before we start the meeting, our legal officer needs to clarify something to do with the report. So, Caroline, over to you.
Yeah, it was just to mention that in the report there are 2 options. It mentions 2 options for the committee to consider when reaching the decision. There is actually a 3rd option, that the committee can grant consent without any conditions attached. So that means you can have, grant consent without conditions, grant consent with conditions, or you can refuse the application.
Okay, thank you, Caroline. Can I then ask the licensing officer, is it Claire Whittle? Are you presenting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good evening, Chair. So yeah, I'm Claire Whittle. I'm the Regulatory Services Manager for Trading Standards and Licensing. So I am representing as a licensing officer in this matter. Thank you, Chair, and other members of the committee. This agenda item has been brought to the subcommittee today following a formal request made by Lancashire County Cricket Club, Talbot Road, Old Trafford, in terms of consent and considerations that they would like you to consider and grant under their terms of their current licence. In 2007, the premises licence was issued by issued to Lancashire County Cricket Club for the whole stadium, which included regulated entertainment and pop concerts, which is allowed for an agreed number and type of events each year. The current licence imposes a range of specific conditions in terms of outdoor concerts with a capacity of more than 5,000 ticket holders, unless otherwise agreed in writing by the licensing authority. These include no more than 7 days of outdoor concerts with a capacity of more than 5,000 ticket holders shall be held on the licensed premises in any calendar year. If in any calendar year, 7 days of concerts with a capacity of more than 5,000 ticket holders are held in the licensed premises, no more than 5 days of concerts with a capacity of more than 5,000 ticket holders shall be held on the licensed premises in the next succeeding calendar year. Outdoor concerts where the audience exceeds 5,000 ticket holders shall not be held on the licensed premises on more than 4 consecutive days in any calendar year. In the event that 4 outdoor concerts with a capacity of more than 5,000 are held in a 28-day period, starting with the date of the first concert held in each period, no outdoor concert with a capacity of more than 5,000 shall be held in a 14-day period following the date of the 4th concert without the written consent of the licensing authority. The committee today are asked to consider for Lancashire County Cricket Club, their request for written approval to hold that 5th concert with a capacity of more than 5,000 in a 28-day period. They will be featuring various bands in June 2022. The Killers, Foo Fighters, Red Hot Chili Peppers and a further pop concert over 2 days. These will be held on the 11th, the 15th, the 16th, the 22nd and the 25th of June 2022. They're also asking for approval in terms of their licence for the use of the Great Stone Road entrance for HGV vehicles relating to the premises licence held for Lancashire Cricket Club. In terms of this request and for written approval, they've consulted with the responsible authorities and Environmental Protection Team have presented additional conditions for that approval to go ahead for the events being held in June 2022. Subsequently, since those conditions were placed in the report and presented, there has been a series of discussions between Lancashire County Cricket Club and the Public Protection Team regarding the potential disturbance and noise control, which has resulted in environmental protection withdrawing the existing conditions which they initially put forward and coming up with a revised set of conditions. I'm happy to go through those if needed. I don't know if they've been seen, but I'll go through those. So the first one is that they want a noise management plan for the 5th concert to be held on Lancashire County Cricket Club in 2022. It shall be provided to the local authority for approval 6 weeks prior to hosting of the first concert on the 11th of June 2022. The noise management plan shall demonstrate how premises licence conditions will be complied with, and in addition will incorporate the following: a methodology for enhanced noise reduction and mitigation techniques to reduce the potential for cumulative noise impacts from the June 2022 concerts scheduled properties on the Trent Bridge Walk, detailing of any mitigation measures to address noise breakout due to potential absence of screening due to the site redevelopment works. Number 2, update noise modelling for events to be held at Lancashire County Cricket Club in 2022 is provided to the council 12 weeks prior to the date of the first concert. The noise model shall include any changes to the structure of the venue, e.g. removal of the Red Rose Suite, which will take place in 2022. Number 3, the updated noise model for the venue shall be used to inform a resident letter drop strategy, which shall be provided to the council for review 12 weeks prior to the first concert in 2022. That's in respect of the 5th concert going ahead. In respect of the approval for the Great Stone Road entrance, number 4, HGV access to the ground between 8 AM and 8 PM, but avoiding peak traffic periods. Number 5, HGVs do not use the part of Great Stone Road between Chester Road and Talbot Road, but approach the ground via Talbot Road, turning either left or right into the Great Stone Road. Number 6, the vehicles are unloaded between 8 AM and 8 PM only in accordance with the licensing conditions. And number 7, residents are informed of this change in the unusual pre-concert letter 12 weeks prior to the first concert in 2022. Therefore, the subcommittee is asked to consider the request from Lancashire County Cricket Club, because they have agreed those conditions alongside environmental protection and environmental health. In terms of the concerts of the 5th concert being held in a 28-day period. So we're asked to consider whether to grant the licence to go ahead with no additional conditions, or to grant the licence permission for the 5th concert with those conditions that environmental health have put forward, or refuse that permission. And that's on both those different scenarios. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Whittle. Can just one question from me. You said at the start of your presentation that something had to be submitted 6 weeks before the first concert. What was that?
That was the in terms of the noise management plan for the 5th concert to be held at Lancashire County Cricket Club. So they're asking for approval for 6 weeks prior to hosting of the first concert, that noise traffic management plan shall be presented, and how the premise license conditions will be complied with. In addition, will incorporate the methodology of the noise reduction and the mitigation techniques to reduce the potential for cumulative noise impacts of the properties that are around the Trent Bridge Walk. And it's also wants them to detail the mitigating measures to address noise breakout due to there'll be an absence of screening on the site, because there will be redevelopment works ongoing at the time.
Right, but you said it was to inform a letter that was going out 12 weeks before.
Yeah, there'll be a letter to go out 12 weeks prior to the first concert, to let residents know of the 5th concert going ahead, and all the concerts that will be happening in that week, in those periods of the 11th to the 25th of June.
Okay, I'm still a bit confused. But I might ask the applicant just to explain the timing of that. But,
Okay.
Before we do that, does anybody have any questions for the licensing officer? No? In that case, I'll ask Mr. Ash as the applicant to speak to his application, please.
Yeah, Claire has summarised that very well. Just a couple of points from me, really, is the 5th concert isn't confirmed and will be subject to sales for the first date, but we wanted to have it in place if the sales for the well, it's the second date in those series of concerts that Claire mentioned. If the sales are very strong for that, we would then go to that extra date, but it would be the same artists in 2 consecutive nights. So it's not, we don't know whether there will be a 5th concert until we actually go on sale with it. The second point you mentioned about the difference between the 6 weeks. The reason for this is that we don't have the information from the bands about the sound and the whole setup until much nearer the time, and therefore until we've got those final proposals from the band about the sound towers, we can't put the final bits in place for the mitigation factors.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think that covers everything. The only other thing is with the Red Rose development, the planning obviously has been approved for that, and we're just concluding the tender exercise at the moment. So there is still some question marks on whether that the building will be demolished or not, or or whether there will be a temporary stand put in, or whether the new hotel construction will be underway. That will be clear in the next few weeks.
Okay, in that case, can I ask why you need a fifth concert? Well, you know, why you need so many concerts? The answer might be obvious, but I'd like you to just to outline, really.
Well, we as I say, we don't know for definite that we will want that one, but we feel the demand could be there, and obviously the club wants to maximise its ability to meet that demand, basically.
Right. I mean, have you ever gone up to the limit as it is now with the 4 concerts?
Yeah, we've previously, I've been at the club 28 years, so I've seen every single concert. The most we've done in a period was take that. I can't remember the year, but we did 5 concerts in 6 nights then.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm struggling to remember. I live quite near the ground, but you're probably right. It's probably just my memory. Could you just outline for us why you need to move the access? I know you've done it before.
Well, there's 2 factors. The turning circle on Brian Statham Way is quite tight in terms of coming in by the UA 92 building. And the other factor is we're anticipating, we're hoping that the development is going ahead, and therefore there will be extra construction traffic in that area that is working on the new development.
Right, and well, roughly how many on each particular day? How many HGVs and what precisely will they do?
The number will be, I couldn't tell you exact number, but what we're planning to do is to use the stage that we put in for the first concert will stay in for the second stroke. If there is this exit concert, that would be the same stage used for that. Then that would go out and a different stage come in for the 3rd and 4th dates. You know, the second to the Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Foo Fighters. So the number of times, we're not changing the stage 4 or 5 times. We're only changing the stage twice. We're using 2 stages.
Okay. And in terms of the gates on Great Stone Road, are you using all the gates? Like there's 10 and 11, isn't there, marked? And
yeah, we would for the heavy goods vehicles, we would be turning in the ones by B&Q. Basically, that would be where we would be bringing them in, because there is almost a good area for the lorries to pull in before they actually come through the gates.
Right. Just on that, actually, about 2 years, maybe 3 years ago, I think it was before the pandemic, there was an incident, I think, where an HGV struck the wall next to the gate. I don't know whether you're aware of that. Like yeah. The post at the B&Q entrance.
Yes, we were aware of that, and it was.
What happened there?
I think they just misjudged the turning circle on it as they came in.
Yeah,
but as far as I'm aware, that's the only incident we've ever had on that gate. Alice, I don't know if you can.
No, that's correct. This year, with the amount of loading in and out through that gate for cricket, we have similar sized trucks that load in for that. So no, that is a very rare occasion. They're quite well trained, obviously. So that is the only incident that I can recall as well.
And that was for the cricket, was it? The building of the temporary stand, was it?
I can't honestly remember. I do remember that incident, but we've got so much going on site, it's hard to remember when that particular incident was and what it was related to.
Okay, can I just ask any of my colleagues on the panel if they have any questions for you?
Just a couple of questions, if I may. Just for the record, the report quotes the figure of 5,000 as a capacity of more than 5,000, and that's because that's the figure that sort of triggers the requirement, as I understand it. So just for the record, we are actually talking about attendances in the vicinity of 50,000.
Correct.
Would that be
Correct.
The figure? And are you expecting or working on an attendance of 50,000 for each of the events?
we'd like to get towards that figure. With if we have the double-headed, the same artist for both nights, that can sometimes lead to a smaller number for both of those 2 nights. We try and spread it out evenly rather than have a bigger number for one night and a smaller number for the second night, but it is just totally based on demand.
Right. So in that situation, you're not sort of selling the 15th first.
We sell the 15th first, and then we would only put the 16th on if it was selling very fast. The promoter is very experienced in knowing whether it would go to that second day very quickly on the day that it goes live on sale, and they would then release that date, sometime on that day probably. Right.
And I know we're not naming names in this, but presumably if you're looking at somebody who can move 100,000 tickets in one location, it's going to be a big act and quite a big attraction to Trafford.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And the question about Great Stone Road and the access that you seek, but the restrictions that are there. If my memory serves me correct, this may well be based in the fact that in a dim and distant concert, there was a de-rigging going on until the early hours of the morning, which caused a lot of disturbance for local residents. Would I be correct with that? Actually?
Yeah, I think that's where the condition came in from.
Yeah.
Based on.
So you're confident that you can police that, the timing of that. Okay. And I did have a question about the dismantling or deconstructing, but I think you've covered that in what you said. So it may well be that there are only 2 de-rigging sessions.
Correct.
The heavy de-rigging.
Rather than 4, really.
Yeah, but the individual acts will have some of their own equipment, presumably.
Yeah, in terms of lighting and sound and obviously the band or whatever, that equipment would come in as normal, but not in terms of changing the whole structure dramatically between them.
And apologies, so just to add to that, a lot of the trucks that do come in aren't just delivering stage, it is a lot of the other infrastructure around site, so fencing, toilets, etc. Those are the kind of things that will stay on site throughout. They won't be moving, so it will just be amendments to the stage and that change of stage. So those are a lot of the trucks that come as well, so that will be reduced once that infrastructure is on site as well.
Okay. And just going back to those individual acts and their own individual sets of equipment, they will be policed in the same respect in terms of the timings of the access.
Yes.
So we haven't got noise issues emanating.
They will, and what there is obviously time between each concert because we have to change it round and clean the site, etc. So when there's that changeover, so we would ensure that was taking place.
We steward that gate when we have concert build and in between concerts. That gate will be manned 24 hours, but will be manned for managing trucks between those hours, as we have done this year. Okay.
And just a pedantic little question for me to finish at this point with. I know it's not the football season, but have you checked for clashes with any events at Manchester United?
Yes, we've submitted, as soon as we had the dates from the promoter, we submitted those obviously to yourselves at Trafford and to our colleagues up at Manchester United. And we're going to be working with events at the warehouse as well, just to ensure that they're aware. Well, we've informed those is already in terms of what dates we've got in for there. But we've got a meeting in for next week to further enhance that discussions with them about that.
Okay, fine. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wetton. Councillor Brotherton, do you have any questions?
Yeah, well, the responses to Mike's question have answered most of mine, really. I was going to ask about, was it on the 16th, but obviously it is on the 16th. And then somebody mentioned to me about a clash with women's football. Since I don't follow football, male or female.
Women's Euros.
Pardon?
Women's Euros, I think you're talking about.
Yeah, is that it? Well, somebody mentioned.
It's in the summer. I don't exactly know when.
Exactly. I just, obviously, what Mr. Ashley said, it's not within the June period when you're thinking of having your concert, presumably.
No, and we, as I say, we have informed United of it, and they have not come back with any reason that they see at the moment for any difficulty with those days. And in fact, we're a big plus up from our point of view is that we work with them to use their car parking as well. So that is a big help to us to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's all I was going to ask. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Brotherton. Can I ask Mr. Pollitt from Environmental Health if he has any questions for the applicant at this stage?
No questions from me, Chair. Thank you.
In that case, would you like to speak to your submission regarding the conditions? Or would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair, members of the licensing subcommittee. I think Claire did run through the progress that I think we've made over the last few days. I would just like to confirm a little bit of additional information. So the Council's regulatory services were aware that the hosting of 5 concerts at the Cricket Club in a 2-week period commencing the 11th of June may increase noise impacts on local residents due to the short space of time between concerts. It is also the case that redevelopment works taking place around the venue may create some additional areas of noise breakout, and this needs to be reviewed and assessed prior to concerts taking place. So to ensure that noise impacts on residents during the concert period is reduced, officers have agreed the conditions or schedule that has been provided to cover some enhanced noise mitigation, particularly focusing on those properties that are most exposed to noise on Trent Bridge Walk, and also to undertake noise modelling to cover the situation of redevelopment, and to potentially look at a wider letter drop to ensure that residents know what's happening and when, to hopefully allow people to be aware of what's going on and to reduce complaints to the council and to the club. So we're happy that without that in place, we don't have any reason to object to this request.
Right. So, you've spoken to the applicant about the extra conditions.
Yes.
I should have asked the applicant, really. And he's quite happy to accept those.
Yeah. We've discussed the noise management plan to focus on enhanced mitigation for this kind of more intense period of concerts that's going to take place in 2022. So and for that to be provided to the council for review 6 weeks prior to the first event to be held, and this has been agreed, but with the applicant, yes.
Right. In terms of the HGV access on Greatstone Road, I believe this has been happening for a while under delegated powers. Has there been any feedback on that from the public, or any complaints or anything?
No, I think I recall the complaints that you perhaps referred to.
Looking to Oasis, about Oasis.
Yeah, so it potentially is. So I'm not aware of any problems in recent history. It seems that part of the process seems to have been running as required in recent years. So again, the conditions that have been proposed, again, we're satisfied that should reduce the impact on residents.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pollitt. Can I just ask either of my colleagues have any questions for you?
No, I don't have any questions on that. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ash, do you have any questions of Mr. Pollitt, the Environmental Health Officer?
No, I don't. We've had discussions and we're happy with what's proposed, and we'll be arranging a meeting with the sound company that's been used for many years, Vanguardia, early in the new year to move that whole conversation forward at an early stage. Okay,
well, the next step is I have to ask parties to sum up, which you've probably already done, but just formally, if I can ask Mr. Pollitt first, if he'd like to sum up.
Yes, thank you, Chair and members of the subcommittee. To sum up, we have agreed a way forward with the applicants to reduce the impact from noise on local residents for the concert period that will take place in 2022, and there will be noise modelling taking place for the venue, and a letter drop strategy being put in place, which we will review. So we're happy this will reduce impact on residents, and no further objections from me.
Thank you, Mr. Pollitt. Mr. Ash, do you wish to say anything in summation?
No, I think it's all been summarised very well, and as I say, we do want to get that permission for the fifth concert to have it up our sleeve if we need to do it, but it's not a foregone conclusion that will happen. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ash. Okay, in that case, we're going to retire into a breakout room to discuss the application, and then we'll come back in to deliver the decision with reasons. So if I can ask Natalie to put us in the breakout room, please. Yeah, but there's a point of clarification that we'd like to ask Richard from the Environmental Health team. We've only really had a chance to view the new conditions from the email on the 9th. I mean, it was sent prior to the meeting, during the meeting while Claire was speaking, but we didn't get a chance to properly look at it. We noticed that the reference to the 75 decibels has now disappeared from paragraph 1. We just want to know what's the significance of that.
So the current noise limit that's specified in the premises license is that I think it's 23 to 37 Trent Walk. The music noise must not breach 80 decibels over any 15-minute period. So that's what they have to. The engineers have to meet. So we got some feedback that if that was applied across concerts, then it would potentially be not make the concerts not viable. Basically, I think that's the feedback that we got, that they would perhaps struggle to achieve that level. So to counteract that, what we would want to do is to agree with the expert who works for Lancs Cricket, an enhanced noise mitigation plan, to see what we can do and what is possible to reduce the noise as much as possible at Trent Bridge Walk.
Right, and what I mean, was that put in specifically because some of the concerts are obviously midweek concerts, i.e. school night, and some of them are a weekend Saturday. Was there any consideration given to that difference?
Midweek concerts have tended to lead to increased complaint levels because of people, certainly during term time, kids going to school, workers having to get up in the morning. So that was definitely one of our considerations, and it's still relevant when we look for an enhanced noise mitigation and noise management plan. So the midweek is probably, yes, where we've got most concern, I would say, and that's why we've asked for additional enhanced mitigation where possible.
So are you happy with that? For well, it's going to be 80, isn't it? Which is what's in the original premises license. So you're happy with that?
That will be that limit will be there, but what we've asked for is a mitigation plan to be submitted for these concerts to be agreed with us. So it would be expected that Trembridge Walk, the properties there, will get some additional attention, and we can look to reduce it down as much as possible.
Is this going to be monitored over the period of the concerts?
Yeah. So when a concert's held, there's always an officer from regulatory services taking noise measurements around the ground at the required spots, and this is usually in accompaniment with the noise consultant appointed by Lancashire.
Okay, thanks, Richard. Does anybody else have any questions for Richard?
No.
No. Okay. In that case, we'll go back in the breakout room, along with the supporting information, and also submission by Mr. Pollitt, the Environmental Health Officer. In respect of the 5th concert requested in a 28-day period in June 2022, we are going to allow it specifically for those dates, subject to the conditions in Mr. Pollitt's email, the latest email now of the 9th, points 1 to 3, and point 1 relating to the noise management plan will be something which will be agreed by the council and delegated to officers. All this will be subject to a noise monitoring report submitted 12 weeks before the first concert begins. In respect of the approval to use Great Stone Road entrance for HGVs, we're going to allow this subject to the extra conditions 4 to 7 in Mr. Pollitt's email of the 9th. Which is today, which we've decided are all relevant conditions to the application. So this is specifically for those 5 events next year. So that is the decision of the panel, which you will be receiving in writing, I believe, within the next 5 days. So before I close the meeting, is there any points of clarification that you need to know?
No, that's very clear. Thanks very much for your decision.
Okay, Mr. Ash. In that case, I'll close the meeting. I thank everybody for their participation, and I'll wish you the very best of luck with the concerts next year.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Chair.